My name is Pamea, and if you clicked on this video, preferably you're a foundational Black American, but anybody else is welcome to get this information. But this is primarily for the young foundational Black American. Anybody, any foundational Black American, you can be any age, but I want to let and educate the young people to let you know exactly what a foundational Black American is and why it's absolutely important for you to know this. Okay, you need to know who you are and you need to know what value that is in 2024 and beyond. All right, so a foundational Black American is if you are a descendant of those that were freed in 1864. So if your parents on both sides, your father, okay, can his family tree can be traced back to the slaves that were freed in America in 1864, and your mother can be traced back to that. So that means both your father and mother are descendants of American slaves. Okay, you got a unique identity, separate from any other African group. So that's what it means for you to be a foundational Black American. All right. Now that puts you in a totally different group than all of these other people here in America. There's if you look around, there's so many other different groups, so many other people that claim to be African American in America. All right. Now, why is it important for you to know who you are? Why is it important for you to know why it is that you are a foundational Black American or that you are a foundational Black American? Why does that hold weight for you? It holds weight because the people that were made slaves, they have a very unique history than all of these other people that immigrated over here afterwards. So just to give you a backstory. So supposedly, okay, well, we know with history, there's history that, okay, a lot of people, or there was a slave, there was a transatlantic slave trade that came here in 1619. Okay. Foundational Black Americans were the first stocks to ever be exchanged on the stock market. Okay, that's a very unique piece of history. You were the first stocks that was traded here on the American Wall Street stock market. Now, there's also evidence in history to show that there were many unrecognized tribes, okay, of many unrecognized Native American tribes that they were not recognized by the United States government. There was only 500 tribes that were recognized by them. But there were many other tribes, hundreds of other tribes, if not into the thousands, that were not recognized. So what happened to those tribes? A lot of them were reclassified as Black. Okay, they were just on the outskirts, but a lot of them were reclassified as Black. There was two classifications. Some of them they were reclassified as Black before slavery and then also after slavery in 1920s. But this is what made up the total of the people that we now call foundational Black Americans. So I just want you to keep in mind that a lot of our people were a part of these indigenous tribes here that were already here. And then you have some of us that were brought from West Africa. So, but long story short, these people worked 200 years for free and they were sent away empty handed. Now, it's important for you to know this and value this. I'll never allow anyone to shame you or silence you and shut you up because it comes with a check. This comes with a check. Now, just for example, okay, the government, they have a history of writing off checks, to many other groups of people. All of these other groups, all of these other immigrants, anybody that they've ever done wrong to, they've always indemnified them. Japanese, 1940, Pearl Harbor. When they dropped those bombs on the Japanese, they made amends with them. Okay, they made all type of amends with them. They wrote them checks. All right, all of that. They take care of the Japanese to this day. The Ukrainians, just a few years ago, they wrote a $10 billion check. They wrote an 11-figure check for them. They sent them $1 billion, $10 billion, sent them all type of aid to help them in the war. Then they paid for them to migrate over here to seek asylum, and they wrote another check just to kind of hold them up until they could figure out what the next permanent long-term plan was going to be to stabilize them here as citizens in America. And then they paid for them to, they wrote another check to make sure that they was going to be good, and they furthered that plan. And you didn't hear nothing else about them Ukrainians. They completely absorbed them into their communities. And that wasn't necessarily a reparation, but it shows you what they're able to do. Just the government was able to do that. All right. Now they had a big they had a big migration from the Middle East going into Chicago. Okay, not too long ago, about a year ago. Okay, you got one of the biggest migrations going on right now, to put with all of these immigrants coming over here, going to New York, okay, going to Denver, going to Chicago, going to Florida, going to all these different places. All of these immigrants, these Latino immigrants, a lot of the money that they're using to put up these people is coming out of what is considered the minority benefits. Now, the minority, that's a trick bag and a code word, which was really originally they used to hide us. And this is why you need to know who you are. You're not a minority. You're not an African American. Okay? You're a foundational Black American. This is the political term. You're a freedman and you're a foundational Black American. And so what happens is a lot of times in all of these major cities, they bring all of these immigrants in, and the young people, or what happens is the foundational Black American people that are in those cities just get ignored. And they bring all of these Asians, all of these Latinos in, and you just get forgotten about. So I just want you to understand that. Now, I want you to also understand that right now, the Latinos are getting all of the heat, okay, and the backlash in terms of the immigration. But the statistics show that it's more Asian immigrants coming into the country more than anybody. And so what I'm trying to tell you is that now both of them are, they're gonna be a problem to you. They're gonna be a thorn in your side at the end of the day. Because when Kamala Harris gets on TV and she does these photo ops, and the president and all these different people talk about minority, they're talking about these people. They're not talking about you. So this video is mainly designated to help you understand the velocity and the severity of you understanding and identifying and coming on the right side of understanding who you are. Okay? Because when it's time to vote, and when it's time to deal politically, all right, or when it's time for you to expect your elected officials, councilmen, mayors, all of these different people to do what they're supposed to do, you need to make sure that you're holding them accountable to do something for your group, not these immigrants, not minority.